Welcome to Amateur Hour, coming to you recorded from Aunt Juanita's in Lumberton. I'm Cody. This guy over here is Troy, and we're going to talk about the Flag Football League. So, Troy, how have you been this week?
Man.
Doesn't matter, we're talking about flag football.
Was that The Rock? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but I'm not that cool. So I'll tell you what, why don't you, we'll start with week 6, so you can read off the game and the score, and we'll talk about the game. So go ahead.
Well, let's look at week 6. We had, we really only had 2 games in week 6. We had some rain and a couple of forfeits, one postponed game due to rain. So we only had 2 actual games played during week 6. The first game was GVNG versus the Valve, and that game was a 36-6 win for GVNG.
That's true. However, the Valve looked better in that game than they have all year. They put some points on the board, and it was actually a close game at halftime, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and that's leading to better things for the Valve coming up.
Yeah.
But yeah, they took a loss there. GVNG is a good football team. The next game was the Herd versus the Storm. The Herd got the victory 40-6. I mean, not much you can say about that. It was
rainy.
It was
very
raining,
wet.
And it was Brandon Granger's game back off of his suspension, and he made sure to let everyone know he was back from suspension.
Yeah, he scored, I think, 76% of the time he touched the ball.
Yeah, it was. He was pretty fired up for that game.
Yeah, but that's so that wasn't a real great game. But let's go on to week 7 where we
the
had
Showstoppers and Team New Balance were postponed because it started raining as hard as it could possibly rain, and so that game is still TBD.
Yeah, I had to actually swim the cones into the field house, and I think we actually lost a board member.
Yeah.
He's still floating somewhere, but we'll try to find him.
The pylon cart got stuck somewhere. It's still out there. It's dead.
When the pylon cart gets stuck, you know that's a problem.
So we move on to week 7, and we had nearly a full slate of games because we had another couple of forfeits, which is getting very, I mean, it's okay, it makes the day shorter, but it's very tedious dealing with.
Yeah, I kind of wish they wouldn't sign up if they weren't organized enough, because then we could just have 8 teams that all want to play, but you know what, it is what it is. So
yeah, I don't like it when. I don't know how someone doesn't think we're not doing something. That was. We are sitting here with a computer screen on the table and microphones in our faces.
Well, look.
Most of the waiters are usually like, "You need anything real quiet?" They let us know she's there, but she's like, this one just jumped right on in.
Well, her eyes are on how much beer is left in my glass. Now, for those of you listening that don't know, which none of you would, I asked for another beer a few minutes ago when mine was about 3/4 of the way empty.
Yes.
And I was told, not just yet, to finish what I had, and then I would get some more.
We thought she was joking. She was not. This was her serious face.
Yeah.
It happened.
So much like a baby eating his mushed peas, I choked down the rest of it to get more. But anyway, week 7. Go ahead, Troy.
So this was a day of very good games. The 409 boys played the Expendables in the first game and got a 20-18 win. The Expendables scored at the end to put it to a 2-point game and went for 2 and didn't make it. Would have tied it to go to overtime. That was a great game right there.
It was awesome. I mean, it was back and forth, you know. I thought the Expendables were going to pull it out at the end, but 409 boys know how to play flag football, you know. Yeah. They stepped up and they stopped the 2-point conversion. And
if it comes down to a close game, usually the team with the more experience is going to win at the end. And they did. I mean, they made a stop that got them a win. Very good game. The Expendables they're so up and down. They really are.
Yeah, because they got blown out by Team New Balance not too long ago. Yeah. And then they come back and beat one of the best 2 or 3 teams in the league, or almost beat them this week. So if they can just put it together for one good signature solid win, I think they'll be on their way to being really great. They have a good quarterback now. That guy can throw the ball a long way.
Well, they've had a signature win. They beat the Jack Boys in the playoffs, but that was several years ago now. So I mean, they should have gotten better from that, but they just haven't stepped over that that line.
I think they need a signature win that doesn't feel like the other team lost. That more feels like they won.
That's a good point. What I mean? Yeah, winning instead of taking a victory. Yeah, I like that.
Because the guy, like in that game, there's a drop touchdown that their quarterback threw.
Yeah.
Like he threw it like 60 yards.
Yeah, so the
guy dropped it,
So that could have been the game winner right there. Yeah, you're right.
But go ahead.
The next game was Showstoppers got a win by forfeit. They're undefeated on the season still. The next game, another really good game between these are two teams that I think are the most equal teams on the field. The Herd played Team New Balance, and the Herd got the win 26-21 with late score and then late stops that put the game away. And man, that was fun. That was a fun game to be a part of.
Yeah, the Herd's defense looked a lot better this week than in previous weeks. The Herd's center, yours truly, tried to give the game away by pitching the ball to the other team for a touchdown. And I was very frustrated at that point.
Yeah.
But, I thought our team came back really well. I was proud of us. New Balance played good. They not taking away anything from them. They played really well. I thought that we had a good defensive game plan in place for them.
Yeah.
And they were sort of figuring it out at the end, but we hung on for the victory.
Well, I think at the play you were talking about where you pitched it to them and they scored, that was a time where in the past we would have folded because that put them up by a point. We would have folded right then because that was in the earlier parts of the second half. But this team that we have now actually, the team we have now came back from that and came back and won the game. I thought that was pretty fascinating to see us come back instead of folding.
Oh, yeah.
And Team New Balance didn't really run what we thought they were going to run. They went away from the offense that's been working for them the last couple of weeks, and that was kind of unusual. So they almost kind of played right into our game plan. It was kind of weird to see them do that. So all things worked out for us actually, and we got the win. So they're a good team. We're a pretty good team as well. So that was a fun game.
Yeah, and now the game of the day, probably the most competitive game of the day, was the next one. So let's talk about that one.
The Storm played the Valve. And the Storm, who's trying to make it into the playoffs right now, they're getting close to not making the playoffs. They're trying to get in, playing the Valve, who does not have a win on the season. And this game was tied 18-18 at the end of regulation. And the Valve scored a touchdown on their last play of overtime to give them 40 yards. And then the Storm just couldn't put anything together and got
dissipated.
Stopped.
It's a high-pressure system.
That's right. He got blown out to sea.
The Valve released high pressure, dissipating the Storm.
And they got their first win of the season.
But, man, you know what? I was watching the game, and there's a guy on the sidelines from the Valve that I was talking to. And he was saying how much fun that they have in the league, and they just really enjoy playing in it. And I really hope everybody has that same attitude because it's good football. I mean, even when there are teams that aren't the best teams in the league playing, it's really good football. I mean, it looks like they're having a good time out there. People get intense. Some people take losses better than others.
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, I hope everybody goes away with it thinking, well, we had a good time on Sunday.
Yeah, I will say I misspoke. That's the Valve's second win on the season. They won a game by forfeit, but that's their first real actual win of the season. So that was so they're actually in the 7th spot, and that put them ahead of the Storm. And they're going to have a lot of trouble making the playoffs now, I think.
Right, and a lot's going to depend on – I think the Showstoppers will hang on to that first seed because right now the way the seeding is we have the Showstoppers at number 1, GV&G at number 2, 409 Boys at number 3, Herd at number 4, Expendables at number 5, New Balance number 6, and Valve at number 7. Storm's number 8, and Salty and Prestige Worldwide are probably out of it at 9 and 10.
We haven't even talked about those teams in the last couple of podcasts because they haven't shown up. So
well, they're most likely out of it. So
yeah. Well, with their forfeits, they're out of it.
And I'll start at 6 and go up. If the Valve still has the Valve and the Storm still have an extremely small spot.
At 8 and 7, the Storm
small opportunity to make it.
The Storm is 1 and 6, and the Valve are 2 and 5.
Right, and I don't think that those two teams will make it, but the right things have to happen. Now, a lot's going to come down to number 6, New Balance. Still has to play the Showstoppers in a makeup game. Thank you, man. that was postponed. So,
so that could drop them down. I mean,
if New Balance can come away with a win against the Showstoppers, though, that's going to put Showstoppers, GV&G, it's going to do a lot for that little spot, because then you're going to have a lot of different things happening. If Showstoppers end up winning that game, they're at 7-0. I think that it's going to be really hard for them to not be number 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Now with the Expendables, their fate is probably pretty easy to see. I think they'll be in the playoffs. They play the Herd at the end of the year. That's going to decide a lot of seeding. Kind of same goes for the Herd. That last game against the Expendables decides a lot. 409 boys still have yet to play GV&G. Those are 2 and 3. So that
could be the 2 and 3 spot game right there.
That game's probably going to decide a bye round.
Actually, it could be like if one of them wins, if GV&G loses, they'll drop down to 3rd, but we've beaten them, so we'll drop ahead of them. That may drop them from 2 to 4 and put us to the 3rd spot.
That's true.
So there's a lot of seeding moving around here.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, the top 2 spots are what you really want for seeding purposes. So there's an opportunity for GV&G to hang on, and be second in the seeding, even first, because I think they have yet to play the Showstoppers. They beat them.
That's true.
They'll be number 1.
That's very true.
So
these last couple of weeks are going to be fun, man.
Yeah, we have two really good weeks of football, so we're excited about it. And
we're taking Easter off.
Yeah, we're going to take Easter off. Troy has some Easter eggs he wants to hunt. I have some Easter eggs I want to plant, because they'll grow Easter trees. Easter bushes.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
Well, the rabbits bury the Easter eggs.
Yes, the rabbits bury the Easter eggs, and the Easter bush grows, and then you eat chocolate bunnies from the bush.
And it
burns
forever.
Yes. All right. So next segment, we'll be back soon.
We'll talk about something.
Yeah, we'll talk about something in the next segment, so stay tuned.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. So in this segment, Troy and I, we've had a lot of experience playing flag football over the years. And y'all didn't know this, but when the league's not going on, our team travels, and we play in a lot of different exotic locations.
Passport is expensive to get one for all of these guys.
Oh, yeah.
Timely, too, because some of these guys have sketchy backgrounds.
Absolutely.
God.
That James Morrison guy, he's on all kind of no-fly lists. We have to take boats everywhere.
Carl's not even allowed to have a passport. It's so weird.
No, we have to sneak him in.
Yeah.
We have to sneak Carl in through, luggage.
Yeah. He always shows up, but he's never allowed to be there.
He's always, all stoved up because he's in suitcases.
Yeah. He plays under the name of Josephson Smith.
Josephson Smith? Yeah, that's right. Well, anyway, so here are the worst locations in the world to play flag football. And they each have a league and everything. So we're going to start with the EPFFL. That's the Empty Parking Lot Flag Football League in inner city Detroit.
Boy, was that scary.
It was scary. Gunshots rang in the background the entire time.
I thought that was like the bell or the buzzer for the games, but...
Well, it was, actually. I did some research, and they don't really play by a clock. I don't know if you noticed that the games, we just sort of played until it was quiet. You start playing when the shooting starts. It's like the neighborhood murders and such.
Yeah.
And then you stop playing when it ends. So the games sort of end randomly, but that's because everybody playing has, different family members that were killed during the game. They have to go mourn. It was, and it wasn't an empty parking lot. You just go from the last stripes remaining.
It was, yeah. It was pretty rough, literally rough. That was the most scared I've probably ever been
in a sporting event. And we came in second in that tournament
because we outlasted everyone.
We outlasted everyone except one team, and they were all wearing Kevlar.
They were, yeah, it was weird.
Yeah.
But, I thought it was a pretty good showing by us, though.
Oh, yeah, it wasn't bad. All right, so the next...
it was terrible, though.
Oh, it was terrible.
In the top 6 worst places ever to play.
Well, there are 6 on here, so yes, the top 6. So the next place that was really hard to play in, getting there was hard, leaving there was harder.
Hard to find, and leaving was the hardest thing to do, was leaving.
Yeah.
Not because we didn't want to leave.
Well, it was in Pyongyang, North Korea. And that league is called the People's Voluntary Flag Football League. And now, of course, it's written in Korean on all their flags and accoutrement, but voluntary is actually in italics. So it's, I guess, more pronounced the People's Voluntary Flag Football League.
It was.
Dude, that wasn't, you know what, I don't even want to talk about how hard it was because of the constant government monitoring and, like, the government needed to know the play you called before you played, you actually used it. What was really difficult was that the other team, it's almost like someone told them they were going to die if they lost. Because they played the hardest I've ever seen anybody play.
And not only that, there were so many teams.
Oh, there were 1,627 teams.
It was ridiculous.
And they said there were that number because that's the number of miracles that Kim Jong-il performed during his lifetime. We had to stop in the middle of it to give praise to the exalted leader or whatever.
Kim Jong-un showed up and sat in the stands, and we had to sing 1,000 thank yous or whatever that song they kept saying. It was so weird.
And I thought we kind of got screwed because we came in second. We were destroying everybody. And then we played the team where Kim Jong-un was the quarterback. I think we beat them 45-7, but the scoreboard said 1,612-0, and they won.
Yeah, it was so weird.
That was bad. And then we tried to leave, and Carl got lost in the luggage.
Josephson Smith.
Yeah, he had to fight in the North Korean army. It was a mess. He actually helped them develop one of the nuclear weapons they have. But he's back now, and he'll be there next Sunday.
Yeah, but that was unusual. I cannot believe we decided to make that trip.
I can't either, but food was really good.
It was very Korean.
Yeah, it was the most Korean food I've ever eaten.
Yeah, and I've been to South Korea.
Well, I've been to North Korea when we played in that league. Okay, so next up on the list is Portland, Oregon, in specific the Vegan District. Now, this one was really hard.
Yeah.
The name of the league was the what's the S stand for? Okay. The name of the league in the Vegan District there was the Synthetic Consensual Touch League. And, you know, if you can kind of parse out the letters, you had to play with a synthetic leather ball, and you weren't actually allowed to say leather because they thought that was
an actual pig or something.
Yeah, or cow. They didn't. But you played with this synthetic leather ball, and it was very tedious because they're very concerned about political correctness. Oh. And the way it worked was one team had the ball. If you were running with it was kind of like regular football, but if you're running with the ball, they don't have flags because
flags are made of plastic, and that's bad for the environment. Oh,
yeah.
God.
So if you went to touch, it was touch, but it was consensual touch. So you had to ask the person with the ball if you could touch them to down them, and they never said you could because they could score. I mean, people at the end of the day do want to win.
Yeah.
But even that was tricky because there was no winners and losers.
Oh God! At the end of the game, whoever was losing, they gave them as many points as the team in the lead had. So there were ties every time.
Yeah.
Nobody won and nobody lost.
You know what though? I mean, we did tie for first place in that league,
along with every other team.
So I guess we tied for last place too.
We got a championship shirt and a not really a trophy because. The shirt wasn't even like
it was
a
made of
t-shirt.
hemp.
Yeah, and the trophy was
so scratchy.
The trophy was, I don't even know what it was made out of. It looked like it was like a dung heap, I think.
It was a trophy made of turds.
Yeah, it was very weird, but it was shaped nice. I mean, it's shaped like a football.
But that was very hard to play in because it was so strange to sprint to somebody and go, "Can I touch you? Can I touch you?" And they're like, "No," every time.
Yeah.
So it was just a mess.
Yeah, and the football, it was, oh God.
Yeah.
I mean, no flag. Oh yeah. I mean, they wouldn't even let us wear our cleats because I had some Nike cleats, and Nike's in Oregon, but they were leather, and I couldn't wear them. The tops were leather.
That's right. We played in Birkenstocks. Everybody did.
I didn't. I just played barefoot, which was, I was not going to do that. I was going to take a stand against something.
You did a good job.
We tied for first.
We did tie for first and last. So the next up on the list was Antarctica. Antarctica, the only total continent that you were allowed to play on. Their flag football league was the Polar Flag Football Adventure.
It was an adventure.
Man, let me tell you, they worked the hardest of any people that had a league, because when we got there, I mean, it was cold. We put Carl in like just some regular luggage, and we really should have put him in something more insulated because we had to de-thaw him like he was from the past and we were in the future. It took a minute, we had hair dryers going and everything.
And there's hardly any electricity. It was so weird.
No, and they were a little bit stingy on letting us borrow a generator to thaw out Carl. But we said he was our rusher and he was important, so they let us do it.
Yeah.
But these guys worked so hard because they would mark the field every 6 minutes. They'd mark it, snow would come in, we'd stop playing, mark it again. I mean, it was unreal how dedicated these guys were to playing football.
Well, not only that, like the South Pole cap kept moving, so the lines kept changing shape. Every game, the shape of the field would like twist into like the shape of an S. It was so weird. They had to constantly.
I thought it was strange when we were playing that every other team, instead of having like a wristband with plays, they had compasses.
Yeah. Because
touchdowns north. It's always north.
Yes, no matter what.
Well, depending on
the weirdest thing was marking ice with white paint too.
Yeah, they could have used a different color paint.
Yeah, I did not understand that.
Now, the biggest problem was the polar bears, because they do blend into the ice. So every now and then your receiver would go out pretty long and he would never come back.
Carl did not come back that one time.
He
did come back with a polar bear cub, though.
Yeah, and a polar bear coat. It turns out what Carl had done was the footballs get really cold, so he caught a pass at the end of the end zone. The ball immediately, once it's exposed to air, turns to ice. Well, Carl found himself lost in kind of a blizzard, broke the ball open to get like some shards of icy football, and he slit a polar bear's throat and took its cub. It was really neat.
He didn't even need to do it either. It was weird. I don't know why he did it. Well, he could have just walked back.
Carl got the bloodlust.
He did. But he still has that coat. It was awesome. He did lose the bear, though. That polar bear's long gone.
Oh, well, that cub is, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't keep a polar bear
You'll see it every now and then roaming around south end of Beaumont.
Do you remember that part, though, where Carl took the polar bear he had killed, and he had this weird look in his eye, and he just started carving, and he made like a case from it. He said, "I'm not going to freeze to death on the way back," and it was a polar bear suitcase.
And he still has that too. He has that. He has the coat.
He brings it to the field every week.
But I don't know, that polar bear's wandering around South Park somewhere.
Yeah,
it's weird.
It was weird that he released it there.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Next up on the list, very difficult place to play.
To me, this was probably my least favorite.
Yeah, it was Aleppo, Syria.
I was scared.
It was scary. It was hard to get there. We had to take a lot of weird transportation, camelback, and weird taxi rides. Yes. I think a man carried me on his shoulders for a while.
We did. It was fun. We got closer to the field where we did have the military escorts into the stadium, though, so that was actually nice.
And each team, I'm sorry, let me tell you the name of the league. The league there is the Long Bomb Flag Football.
Good term. Very accurate for their.
It was very accurate because what you did was they had one ruin set up for the south end zone and then another ruin set up for the north end zone, and you just played ruin to ruin. It was actually a pretty good, well-run league. The field was always marked. Flags were good. They had the mushroom top flags in that one. It's pretty cool.
You were not allowed to wear shorts.
No, well, that came apparent, but there's a lot of shrapnel.
Well, I think it was, I don't know if that was the reason, but they were very adamant, do not show any of your legs. It was very weird.
I didn't see one lady while we were there.
Yeah, I did see some people wearing these long, like, all black, covering their faces, like, off in the distance. They never moved. It was very weird. Like they were training their eyes on us. It was very weird. I want to thank the U.S. military for being there.
Y'all did a great job. We all came back alive. We had the smallest roster there because we only had like 12 to 15 people usually.
Yeah.
Every other team in that league had 48 people on it. And because generally by the end of the game, a good 30-something of them had died.
Yeah.
From different bombings and such. So but We won first place.
We did not lose anybody in that game.
No, we didn't even lose a game.
And that's where we met Christian. Christian became, because he was on our military escorts.
He was part of the escort. That's why he came back with us.
And now he's part of the herd.
Yeah.
Defensive stalwart of the herd.
That's right. All right.
He learned how to play playing in this league. That's why he's so good.
That's why he's so tenacious.
Yeah.
So I have one more location on this list of the very worst places to play flag football, and I'm sorry, but for me this might be the worst. Warren, Texas.
The Pit of Hell.
The Pit of Hell Flag Football Association.
If you've never played in Warren, Texas, you know that they play in a literal pit of hell. It's a pit in a valley in Warren, Texas.
And it is adjacent to the old ruined, gutted school that has giant pictures of penises and do not enter signs
and
drawn on it.
One drawing, some graffiti said, "Today's menu, you." Very creepy.
And the field, it was summertime. The field was at 275 degrees Celsius. Every time you tried to drink water, it just boiled in your mouth. And we didn't. Go ahead.
You couldn't breathe because you were down in this valley. No airflow was even down there. Oh.
You know what, though? Herd didn't lose a game. We won that tournament. Never got a shirt.
The No Shirts League.
Yep. So that was.
They still promise, though. They're on their way. That's what I've heard.
Those shirts and the dragons. They're both on the way. Yes. But, yeah. So that was the list.
The Pit of Hell Flag Football League.
Yeah. That's the hardest places to play flag football in the world.
That was the easiest one to get to. Well, no, not even. That was not the easiest one to get to, actually. That was pretty hard to get to as well.
No, we got threatened at the convenience store there by some old man.
Yeah. Which one was the easiest one to get to, actually? Probably the one in Detroit, because there's a lot of empty parking lots, and you can just see for miles over these empty parking lots.
Well, I didn't think Antarctica was all that hard to get to.
That's true, yeah. Because that was pretty easy.
I mean, I was in a
go to where the people are.
I was in an airplane that was for Carl. That probably sucked. He
doesn't know how to get to any of these places.
He was clinically dead for several hours.
He's never seen any of these places because he's been in luggage.
He was in luggage till he played. That he got right back in the luggage.
Yep.
Even Warren, we put him in the trunk of a car.
The one in Portland was even weird because there was no patch of grass. They didn't want to take the patch of grass from the animals, the free-range animals. So it was just kind of like you play around the animals. It was weird. If they were roaming there, you had to move to play somewhere else. I
thought we played on soybeans.
We did, but I'm saying we had to move around the animals.
Well, guys, y'all just be thankful that you play in a league in Lumberton where there's grass and we don't hassle you with all these crazy rules and death.
And Waiter even delivers to the field if you'd like for them to.
Yeah, go Waiter. Well, Troy, do you want to mention the sponsor you discovered just now?
Oh, I did not discover just now, but I just now discovered that they are sponsoring us today, though. They did. I had a phone conference with Carbach Brewing, and they are our sponsor, with Crawford Bach. They are our sponsor for this episode alone.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Actually, they just sponsored that segment, that 15 seconds of me talking. That was it.
Of that Crawford Bach's the sponsor.
While I was drinking, that's when they sponsored.
Well, all right. Well, you know what, guys? The last segment, if you don't normally stay tuned to it, you really need to listen to it this week because we have an old friend that we found. He was on one of the very early shows, and we're bringing him back. He's got a lot to say, and I think you'll really like it.
I've been trying to track him down since his original call to the show. We've been trying to track him down, and I guess he heard about us because we're going to get him back.
Yeah. So, all right, stay tuned, and we'll have Bill Peterson on the line when we come back.
With their phone. Get it done. Just get it done. Why are you...
Hurry up. All right, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right. Welcome to the third segment here on Amateur Hour. By the way, it's episode 40. 40 episodes.
Wow.
Going strong.
It has taken us 2 years. How long have we been doing? 3 years to get to 40 episodes?
No, we started in 2017, which brings me to my next point. We're about to bring on a guy who's been on here before. And he was actually on Amateur Hour episode 10.
Episode 9.
It was episode 9? Okay. So it was
I look back.
9.
I wanted to find where he was.
Exactly. So Amateur Hour episode 9. If you guys want to listen to the last segment of that, his name's Bill Peterson. He called in. He was very fired up and angry about the Flag Football League because he was, I guess, some sort of associated with the Little League thing.
He almost didn't seem like he knew what was going on with that field until later on. He didn't let us know that he built that field, basically. Halfway through the call, he decided to let us know that.
Yeah, but
he could have started with that. But for some reason, it sounded like he didn't know what he was talking about until halfway through.
Well, we spent the last 2 years tracking down Mr. Peterson, and we finally found him. He's doing pretty well, and he's. Are you ready for Bill to come on the line?
Man, I've been waiting for this for a pretty long time.
Okay, well, here's Bill. Are you there?
This is Bill Peterson. Am I on? Am I on the radio?
Mr. Peterson, you are on. I am glad to have you back.
Oh, you know what? I think I called you a mother the last time I talked to you, and I really do, truly, with my whole heart, apologize. Down, little missy. I do apologize that I had to be so tough with you, but you must understand that Bill Peterson put his life, soul, sweat, piss, and blood into that field. You know that, right? You know me.
Well, I do, you know it, and I did not take offense to that because I knew you had some, you put a lot of effort into that field, and I understand you were just not happy with us as adults being on that field.
Oh, but I'll tell you what, y'all done showed me the way. Because, see, I had planted them ostrich eggs on the field, and at time immemorial, the Petersons been ostrich farmers from ever since we came to Texas, from Quincy Paul, Winnipeg, Canada, New Orleans. Now, when we came here, we knew that little kids' cleats made the ostriches hatch from the eggs we planted. Everybody knows that. You knew that. I knew that. Even old Beto O'Rourke knows that. But little did we know that them ostrich eggs is tough. And you showed me how tough they was because them adults coming out there kicking the eggs and falling on the eggs, well, they made some big old strong ostriches.
Well, I mean, I don't want to take credit. I don't think we should take credit for that. I think it's a team effort learning the ways of the ostrich egg.
Yeah, Bill. I mean, it seems like you got yourself a good place now. Where are you staying? I mean, did this become like a big thing for you? Or you're making good money?
Oh, I tell you what, we done moved out way out in the country. I mean, way out in the country, and I got this big old ostrich farm. And I call it Bill Peterson's Big Bird Ranch, and we live out in Keechie. It's right on the Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Mississippi border. I know that don't make a whole lot of sense, but Mississippi ducks on in there at the end.
You know what? I have seen that on the map, and I can't believe that I am in agreement with you on this.
Yeah. Well, see, what we do is we got these rows. Now, we done tilled up the property, so the ostriches, they run on the soft dirt, and I put some planter soil and a little bit of crawfish juice. I kind of spoil my ostriches. I make a fresh crawfish boil with Slap Your Mama seasonings and feed them nothing but corn holes and corn husks. Corn holes what I poop out of. Bill Peterson joke. Sorry,
I knew it was coming. I like it, Bill.
I found a sense of humor in the last few years of my life. You know, I have terminal diseases and such.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that, Bill.
You know, it's all right, because as long as I got my ostriches, then I'm going to do okay. But what I want to tell you is the biggest treasure I done found in you boys' league. When I was down there scouting, I figured y'all had some other good ideas, and I found me the best ranch hand there is.
Mr. Peterson, is it time to feed the ostriches?
Now, hang on now. Don't touch it. You don't want to touch it when you feed. This boy works real hard, but he ain't real bright. I got to tell him all the time to quit touching the ostriches.
Pat his beak one time, Mr. Peterson. I just want to touch him.
'cause he loved me, and he my kind. Oh, Mr. Peterson. I told you not to touch his big. Hang on now. Hang on. Don't quit touching this big. He's got me. He got my nipples. He's grabbing on my nipples and bleeding, and it hurts my nipples. Well, that happens every now and then. You still there?
Yeah, Mr. Peterson, that sounded like a friend of ours, or at least somebody we know. Did you hire some new help? Was that what's that guy's name?
No, his name's Bo. I think his last name's Tittyman. Bo Tittyman. He's a good worker. Works real hard. He keeps wanting to touch ostriches, and he's got them big old nipples.
Does he have sensitive nipples?
They're big and they're sensitive, and the ostriches get milk out of them sometimes, and they sit there and try to suckle, and he fights the ostrich every day. I'm telling him to quit touching the ostriches.
Well, does he complain that the ostrich eggs are real slick, too?
You're right.
How slick were they?
Let me tell you, he said they're as slick as a possum's asshole. Now, I don't know why he said that, but, he's a good kid. I don't know what to do with him. I mean, he keeps on grabbing on the ostriches, grabbing them like he's trying to intercept them when they're going somewhere, and they fall down in his lap, and he's leaking milk and blood on them. It's a weird thing.
Has he ever, accused the ostriches of challenging them to a 40-yard dash?
He sprints on them ostriches all the time, loses every race. Now, I watch, and I referee them. Ostrich runs a 4.240. That boy runs a 7 flat. But anyway.
But he still races them every time?
Races them every time.
Does he talk mad crap
He's
to
as
them?
mad as he can be. Mad as a hatter, I'd say, or a badger, whichever one's madder. I'm Bill Peterson. I don't know my small mammals as well as I do my big fowl. Which brings me to my next point. Now,
You okay? You okay, Mr. Peterson? You still there?
Had an arteriogram today, so I'm not feeling the best. Bo did it, actually. But anyway, now I named my place out here Bill Peterson's Big Bird Ranch. I know it's got a good ring to it. You don't got to fluff on my feathers. I love it. But I need a good jingle, so I'm going to run some stuff by you. You going to be all right with that?
Yeah, that's fine. I'd love to help out any way I can, Mr. Peterson.
All right, here's the first one I thought of. You ready for this?
Let's go.
Bill Peterson's Big Bird Ranch. Get you one. That's pretty good, right? I mean,
you know what?
Get you one.
It sounds good. I feel like in this area there is.
But just listen to the whisper at the end. Get you one.
I like it. I think it fits you personally. I just think that is used in this area already. We may want to try something else. Let's see what else you got.
All right. I can accept criticism now. I'm on a whole shitload of Lexapro. But anyway, all right. Here's the next one. Bill Peterson's Big Bird Ranch. One more better deal. That's pretty good, right? Because we do good deals on ostriches.
You know what? I can appreciate that slogan as well. I just think that one also has a tone of. It's been heard around here. Let's try something else. I feel like. Let's go. Let's see what you got next.
All right. Now this one's more about the eggs than the ostriches, but I think you'll understand it. Bill Peterson's Big Bird Ranch, like a rock, as strong as it could be. Pretty good, right?
You know what? Also, you may have to run that by Bob Seger, possibly Chevy as well. Yeah.
Did you say Shaggy?
Yeah, Chevrolet.
Chevy.
Yeah, I would probably not.
I'm more of a Ford man myself.
I could tell. Yeah, I would not use that one. You're gonna have a lot of liability with that one as well. I would not use that one.
All right, I got one more.
Okay.
All right, here's the last one. Bill Peterson's Big Bird Ranch. MikeSmithDirect.com. That's pretty good,
Bill,
right?
Did you just recently watch a lot of TV, local
television?
television?
I made a list. I got 2 lists in front of me. I got Bill Peterson's Big Bird Ranch slogans, and I got car dealership jingles I like. Ah, shit.
Yeah, I think you probably need to you probably should.
Yeah, you're right.
Not do those. That's you. I feel like you.
You're right.
Come up with your own slogan. How about that?
I gotta go sew up some nipples. Hey, Bo's bleeding over here.
Mr. Peterson, it hurts so bad. It hurts. I think I'm pregnant.
He's got a lot of problems. I gotta go. All right. Well, thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Well, thank you, Mr. Peterson. Please. He didn't even leave us his number. I wanted to get back in touch with him.
He's off the line.
God, it's twice. I wanted his number. He seems he's so much cordial now.
He's a very mysterious man, Mr. Peterson is.
Like, that was. Why didn't we get his number before? Why did we wait?
I don't know.
God, we should have known he was going to take off like that.
Well, our producer's not the best.
Oh,
there's not
man.
one.
I'm glad for him. He's got a business. We helped him expand his business.
Yeah.
He's got those hard-charging ostrich eggs now.
And I'm glad that Bowen Titman is out there helping him.
I can't believe. What are the odds that those two people got together?
I'm not sure at all.
That is. It's almost like it's made up.
Yep. Almost.
But it can't be. You can't make that up.
No, you can't make up stuff like that.
You cannot make that up. That is fantastic. What a world we live in.
Well, look, we're not playing on Easter Sunday, so y'all do your Easter stuff, and we'll be back the Sunday after that. So show up that Sunday, unless you're listening to this a couple of years in the future. And I don't even know what to tell you.
There are 2 more weeks of the season before the playoffs.
Yep.
So get it up and get it out.
All right. Have a good day.
Good luck.